So right behind me you can see we've attended this Citroen DS3. Customers complain about the tailgate, well, various tailgate issues. When you turn the rear heated windscreen on, the heated windscreen turns on the wiper motor, and you press the tailgate switch, it turns on the wiper motor as well. So we're more than likely looking at a bad earth issue, but I'll run you through the diagram. Okay guys, so to give you a bit of a rundown now, it's completely failed. None of them are actually working, so we might actually have a broken wire in here, but they're not so easily accessible, so we're going to leave that now. So what we've got is the tailgate switch. You can see the tailgate switch does not work. There's your tailgate switch, hatchback tip switch right there, and you can see that goes into a splice connector and goes off into G61. That G61 is also shared with the wiper motor. So on pin 3, which is that end one there with a wee black mark on it, so if we go into pin 3 and we give it a direct ground, because there's no easy power feeds here, so load testing isn't really an option at the moment. So if we go into pin 3, you can see there we've got no operation. Go into pin 3 and you can hear the actuator is working now. As soon as we remove it, there's absolutely nothing. So there is actually a connector, if I can get this in here, which might not be so easy, especially with all the stickers in front of it. So there is a connector down there, up there. You'll see it where all the white wires go into the tailgate. So that is another connection in there, and then what happens is the wires run up and run through the grommet and onto the actual component itself. So I'm just going to have a tug at the wires in behind here, and then we'll see where that gets us. So a fairly easy one, guys. So just put the grommet down. You can see we've got a broken earth cable in there and a multitude of wires down there that are broke. Normally I would go to the extent of repairing that, but if you look further up you can see there's green corrosion that's going further up into the harness, and the harnesses for these are relatively cheap. They're 95 plus the VAT, so 115 odd quid. So we're going to get a harness for it in this case, just to cover us all. So we'll be able to get that for next week, and we'll film putting all this back in. On to the next one. So how we doing? We are at our next job, which is this R56 Mini Cooper. It's a 2010 year. The issue with this is the high beam lamp's not working. It's an MOT failure for that reason. So we're going to look through the diagrams. There's two options here. There's one with a relay and there's one with just the FRM itself. He's told me the FRM's already been replaced. So with that FRM replaced, it kind of rules that out, but we're going to be checking that anyway, because, well, you never know if a good second-hand module is okay. He did say he got it tested, but it's, you know, who knows. So switches. So the lamp that we're looking at now, we're just focusing on the right hand lamp because it's easier accessed. So you can see we've got a EO2B is our high beam, and that is coming through on a yellow and blue wire. It's the same on both sides. So if I show you here some setup, when you do flick the switch, the high beam symbol does come up. So we're back probed into that yellow and blue wire, and what we've got is 0.15. So 0.15 definitely isn't right. 0.15 volts. So we are going to need to trace this further back to FRM and see what the hell's going on here. One thing I did notice something weird with this, is when you turn the ignition on and flick the high beam switch, the low beam comes on. You can see there's been wiring and that tapped into for whatever reason, I do not know. But I think we're going to go to the passenger side and take out that FRM module and see what's happening there. so I don't think they're on the right wire, but we can double check the diagrams. So if we turn the high beam on, you can see it does change, but I think there's something wrong with this FRM module. So I've not yet bothered putting so what I'm going to do first is just double check the inputs into the FRM from the switches. So you can see there, if I flick the headlight on, you can see it's operated. If I put on main beam, operated. So I mean, it's getting the inputs. It's getting the inputs into that FRM. It just doesn't seem to be outputting. Which is a tad strange. Let's go into vehicle lighting. We'll go into high beam left and see if there's any output at all from the FRM. So if we click the stock, the output is off at the moment. So the FRM is not outputting. Dear. So I mean, the only thing that's left really is the FRM. So kind of running out of ideas with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recode the module with the top down, just to see if that'll solve it, because I'm running out of ideas. It's definitely the output from the FRM's not outputting the high beam, so it's nothing to do with the switches, the wiring or the bulbs. Your input's going into the FRM module, so the only thing that's left is the actual module. So I'm just going to recode it. There's nothing to lose. It will take about 15 seconds to recode the actual module and see if that solves it. So here we are. So we've turned the ignition on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into FRM module. I don't think this will work, but there's nothing to lose here. So you need to turn off the ignition, which we'll do now. We'll turn off the ignition, wait a couple of seconds. I'm not waiting 15 seconds. Turn the ignition on. So the ignition's on. We'll just recode it, see if this helps in any way. You've seen in the video before that the output was blocked from the FRM module for whatever reason that is. So I don't know. It's obviously, it's been like this for years apparently. So the recoding has been done. So what we'll do is we'll just turn the ignition off, let that settle for a bit. We'll go back into the FRM, try to get that glare away for there. So we're back into the FRM, we'll go into data stream and see if we're still blocked. So we'll go into the high beam right, so we'll go into output and we'll graph that so it's easily seen. So it's easier seen. Oh, I've just turned those hazards on. So what we're going to do is we'll flick this switch. Oh, the ignition's not on, that would help. So turn the ignition on. See that button? So the ignition's on. We'll flick the switch. Oh, we've got an output now. Are they working as normal? So you can see there, flick the switch up, and I'll try and zoom in. So if I flick the switch, you can see that they work. If I turn the headlights on, so the headlights on low beam now. Ah, there we go. So it was a software issue then. So somebody's definitely been mucking about with this before. The guy says it's been like this for quite a long time. So it's strange, but just try it again. As you can see there, the output is changing to on. So the top down's helped us out big time with this, recoding this module. it is fixed this fault. So we now know that the recoding carried out by the top down has fixed this issue. We could see that the input was coming from the switch going into the FRM, but the output was blocked coming out of the FRM. So we knew that it was definitely an FRM issue, but recoding that fixed the problem, and we've now got working high beam and low beam. So yeah, that was a module. This is a spare one that I've got right enough. That's not the module from this car, but they're prone to failing, prone to water ingress, and we repair them on the van. 9 times out of 10 they do work. But in this case, let's say the top down's managed to get this one working, not get any other further faults. So we'll move on to the next job and we'll see you then. So I thought I would video this anyway. It's not going to be a long one, but we've got a old Corsa D 1.3. It's got a crank no start, so if I go to start it, the battery's getting low anyway. But these are the fault codes that we've got. So typical Corsa, I'll just spin you round. So boom, P214602, and that's just going to be the typical. That's just going to be the typical water ingress into the ECU. See all the water sitting on top of the ECU on that. So another Corsa D down. It's getting a bit old anyway, 59 plate. So 14-year-old more or less, 15-year-old. But hopefully a bit more interesting than the next one. Sometimes they're that easy.